Hello and welcome to ERP Today Live with me, Giacomo Lee. How can ERP software leverage generative AI and LLMs? And what are the key benefits? Also, what's best practice for this process, including for data quality? Answering these questions today, we have Kerry Jordan, Group Vice President, Product Manager for Epicor, and Arturo Buzzolino, Chief Innovation Officer at Epicor. Kerry, Arturo, thank you for coming today. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us. Doing well.
Yes, thanks. Doing awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great to meet you both. So, as an intro for our viewers, when it comes to emerging tech like AI, machine learning, what does Epicor offer and to what kind of customer base?
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and get started here. So thank you so much for having us. Really looking forward to digging into this very important topic with you. So when it comes to AI at Epicor, we have a long history of investing in and launching to market a variety of different types of AI solutions. We serve very specific focused industries in manufacturing and distribution, in building supply, retail, and the automotive aftermarket. And this is critical because whenever we're launching AI, we're always very focused on these very specific industries, and not just at a whole, but we go deep into the sub-vertical level, such as within manufacturing, aerospace, and defense. Fabricated metals within distribution, HVAC, right? So it's very important that we get very specific, and that becomes even more important when you're starting to launch AI models. Because it's so specific within the types of industries and that data that they're using on a daily basis, the types of decisions that they need to make about their businesses. Now, I mentioned we have a long history. We have solutions such as MRP, Material Requirements Planning, that is a form of an expert system, which is AI. We have a financial planning and analysis, which leverages AI, inventory optimization, of course, which has AI. So again, a variety of different types, but we are so excited about our most recent generative AI. And I'll turn that over to Arturo to talk through.
Yeah, happy to. So yeah, thanks, Terry. It's true, right? Like we've had a long history of AI as an ERP company. What we're going next is we've launched or about to officially launch to market our product Prism, which is essentially it's an inference pipeline for large language models. For lack of a better term, what we're essentially doing is we're taking kind of the world's best large language models. Think of like GPT, think of Anthropic, right? All of those that are available. And what we're essentially doing is we're fine tuning them, we're training them, we're showing them how our data ontology that's based on make, move, sell works. And essentially we're able to then leverage these models to solve very specific problems within make, move, sell. That's our strategy, right? We don't want to solve very generic things like making summaries of long texts and things like that, but rather what we want to do is solve very specific steps in a workflow for a manufacturer, for example, or for a distributor.
Fantastic. Sounds like the real deal. We'll touch on Prism again later. My next question, let's say a business has decided to move to adopt AI. What does that process look like? And what are some of the obstacles that a business should be prepared for on this journey?
Yeah, I think I would recommend going back to the basics because it is so similar to any type of investment that you're going to make in your business. You need to understand the return. You need to know how it aligns to your corporate objectives and the vision that you have for your business. And you want to do a strong business case because you want to ensure that it is going to deliver the types of return that you need. That said, AI is a little more complex. We've been working with a number of customers to understand their business challenges, what they'd like to achieve. And it's important that when an organization is looking to invest in AI, to talk to your vendors, to see what they've experienced and to get recommendations from them. I don't know, Arturo, if you wanted to talk through maybe like what it's been like to talk with some of our customers that we've been working with.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things, and obviously the way we focus on specific issues is actually, our engineering teams work with customers one-on-one and really figure out their current business practices, how they're using our current software, right? Because ERP really runs the core of a lot of these customers' businesses. So it's really what we first do is really talk about, like, is your data in order? Because that's the number one thing, right? So meaning, are your when people have access to certain data sets, are those data sets accurate, right? Who's accessing them? Who's changing them? And so most companies, we start there, right? Ensuring that your ERP implementation is done right, if you will, for lack of a better term, or as close to right as possible, right? Because that's really important. Then once you have that, once you have the right data in place, that's where kind of that additional value can start coming in, right? So if there are any, for example, steps that require a large human time, like a large amount of human time, those are very ripe for actually AI disruption, right? Are there ways that, for example, a large language model or generative AI could do that thing better? Or maybe not a large language model, but a specific, I don't know, neural network or whatever it is that you're doing, that you're trying to predict your inventory volumes, for example. So all of that is important, but really, to Carrie's point, it is back to basics, right? It's making sure that your users are utilizing the system and your data is in order.
So as you're doing more than just chatbots, what is the biggest difference a business will see when they adopt AI?
Gosh, there are some pretty exciting metrics that are starting to emerge. I mean, productivity, certainly, cost savings. If we're thinking about inventory optimization, risk management, spend optimization, it's pretty exciting to see what's happening out there.
Yeah, and I mean, because you can take, again, going back, right? You can take things that are super manual today, for example, like writing, let's say, I don't know, 20 emails or something, right? Someone's going to write those emails. Someone's going to have to figure out that the data in those emails matches what's in the ERP, for example, or the system of record. Well, now for the first time, you can do that in seconds with a large language model, right? And you don't have to have a human in the loop. Yes, you'll have human in the loop, just making sure, right, that what's going out is accurate. But the point is, it saves a ton of time. That's just one small example. I mean, multiply that by 100 in a complex manufacturing or distribution operation. The savings can be significant.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was chatting with a customer, and we were talking about the different types of AI and what you could achieve and things that you could do. And this person was like, if you could just automate my emails for order entry, and it's you got to think through like what people are doing on a daily basis. And sometimes the work is arduous, it's cumbersome, it's manual, it's just repetitive data entry. And that's what we can be automating with AI. It just, not only does it have all these great savings for a business, but truly for the well-being of employees, of your day-to-day, to just start to love what you do again. I think it's pretty exciting to see what's possible.
Fantastic. Love what you do again. Brilliant. Tell us a bit more about Epicor Prism, and do you have any case studies which touch on AI, that you can share today?
Yeah, so Prism, yeah, I think, few things we've done. Obviously, we've been working with a handful of customers. One that I can talk about that this year is VCarb. So Visa Cash App RB is someone that we've partnered with closely, which is a Formula One team that uses our Epicor Kinetic, which is made for manufacturers, to build the car, actually, that then they go and perform with. Well, one of the quick things we discovered is that actually the performance of the factory itself, and how good the engineers and the mechanics and others are good at responding to X, right? Whatever X might be, it might be some different thing that they might need to do. How efficiently they're able to do that it is directly attributed to performance on the track, and that really goes to any customer, right? So meaning the quality of what they're producing directly impacts their bottom line, the revenue, all of that. So for us, where something that we discovered very quickly, and very similar to the use case Carrie just talked about, was the way that suppliers were being managed, right? So say there might be a very specific, especially in Formula One, it's very specific, right? Like if you need a very specific part that is either really difficult to build, meaning so we could build it, or most of the time we go out and buy it from someone. When they go out and buy it from someone, they have networks of suppliers, and so the way that they interact with those suppliers is through email. Essentially, it's a group of like few people that are essentially just sitting there, coming in with when the orders come in, right, from the engineers. The engineers decide, are we going to build this thing or are we going to buy this thing? We're going to buy this thing. So then they're informed of that. So that's when they come in and they start saying like, okay, well, how quickly do we need it? When do we need it by? What kind of parts do we need? And all of that. And all of that is very manual, right? They have to go through the ERP, discern that information, and then start writing emails. Could be anywhere between 10 to 20 to 30 emails, depending on who it is that they're reaching out to. Well, we took that very specific example, and Prism kind of flipped it on its head. And essentially what we did is said, okay, well, if the large language model already understands everything that's inside of your system, it gets it. When you need to order something, it'll understand that concept. Like, okay, now I need to order something. So why not allow it and a group of different agents that do specific things, pull out the data, put it all in an email, draft a professional email, and in parallel have conversations with 20, 30 people while you're in the middle, kind of just sitting there receiving all the responses. That in of itself is it's something that takes something that might have taken days, and now you bring it down to maybe a couple hours, right? So those are the kinds of things, and it frees up those people that maybe you had 5 people that were focused on writing emails and kind of doing that repetitive tasks. Now those 5 people can worry about other things, right? And so it just generates a ton of efficiency within and gains within the operations of the factory.
Fantastic.
That's one example.
Thank you. Yeah. And it'd be great to hear another example this time about data quality. Can you both discuss how important data quality is in the context of AI and automation?
I'd say
automation.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, I would say, so as we got started on this AI journey, a while back with our customers, we would talk about the value of AI, generative AI, I should mention, and what it could potentially do for the business. And, while organizations had been leveraging AI types of solutions from Epicor, generative AI, of course, creates a new level of excitement and interest, but also hesitation. So what was happening was our customers would say to us, this sounds great. We're excited about AI, but I don't think it's for me. I don't trust my data, and I don't want it to be making recommendations about my business that are, potentially very consequential in regards to, supply chain, investments, cost, all these kinds of things. And so early on, we decided to invest in this area to resolve these concerns and challenges for our customers. Epicor invested in a solution called Grow. We made this acquisition back in 2022, and we've been investing and building this out ever since. It's a full stack BI platform. And since the acquisition, we have been building it into a full interactive data pipeline experience that we're now calling the Grow Data Platform. And this is, much larger of a solution in that it is now highly tuned to manage the types of data from a velocity perspective, from a variety perspective, to ensure that it can incorporate and feed this data that could be across the organization and allowing our customers and users to really interact with the data. They can interact with these data pipelines. They can drag and drop. It's a very easy, seamless experience. If anybody out there has worked with AI models, it can be highly complex and require, of course, extensive knowledge and experience. But we sought to change that, and we wanted to democratize access to AI and empower our customers to be able to see their data, work with it, normalize it, ensure it's healthy, and determine how that data is fed from a variety of different systems, into use cases, into dashboards, into recommendations across their business. So the Grow Data Platform is an important element of our data story. And when it comes to making AI easily accessible to our customers, we're excited to be launching our Grow Data Platform during calendar year 2025. Of course, our Grow Business Intelligence Platform is available, but this richer experience with data pipelines is coming here pretty soon. But I mentioned that's one element. That's just a piece of it. Prism, leverages the ERP data for that customers would be leveraging. So, Arturo, if you wanted to talk a little bit more about, how it ensures accuracy within the data there.
Yeah, and then another thing is, and thanks, Carrie, because then it starts the whole point of what Prism is, which really at its core, Prism is what we want to say is kind of the revolution of the way that humans interact with their software, particularly in ERP. It's going to be a revolution, because before, ERP historically has been a very complex piece of software, right? You need to understand what's going on, what data it touches, and all of that. Well, for the first time ever, now you can actually converse and have a conversation with your ERP to find insights and determine things, pull things out of it that maybe were impossible before, would take long hours. Now, the way data quality works is, again, it's going back to basics, making sure your ERP data is clean, usable, right? As much as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as much as possible. And then, like Carrie said, using this concept of a data platform just ensures that different data elements are interacting with each other in a certain way. Now, through years of experience, what we like to say is Epicor's data ontology or data model has been tuned. We've been tuning it for decades, right, to our use cases, to our customers. Well, what we're essentially doing now is using things like retrieval augmented generation, which is called RAG, which is a strategy for large language models, as an example. But basically what you can do is you can take a large language model as is. You don't have to retrain it or anything, but essentially just point it towards the data and say, hey, look, this is our data ontology. This is how it works. That's what these tables in the database, that's what these mean, right? And once we do that, you can tell how important that the accuracy of that data be accurate, because it's learning from it. And once it learns it, then you can start having that conversation with the model. And the other beauty is, which it is a bit of an advantage too, which is when you're having that conversation, if anything doesn't line up, it'll become very apparent, right? And so it'll kind of force you to say, oh, okay, so maybe the data in that area is not as clean as I used to think it was, right? So it is kind of a process in this, just this process of cleaning your data and maintaining your data in a clean way.
Fantastic. My last question: how are your proprietary AI models being utilized in financial planning and analysis? So FP&A. This could be a whole topic in itself, but what's the general load?
Yes, it absolutely could. Giacomo, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about this in terms of the inventory optimization proprietary AI models with the acquisition of smart software. And this is actually where we are bringing on patented AI models for the proprietary use within Epicor, but now, of course, broader within our customers. And I did want to share with you, so smart software is now Epicor inventory planning and optimization. And this is a solution that actually runs thousands of simulations across the supply chain to determine what would be the best stocking level within the inventory in order to optimize costs. And this actually brings there are three patents, for the proprietary models that I did want to just discuss here, because it is pretty exciting. So the first one is around clustering and visualizing demand profiles of resources. So this is leveraging machine learning to automatically identify and cluster groups of items that have similar demand profiles. So this allows for enhanced demand and supply planning. We also have a second A second patent with system and method simulate demand and optimize control parameters. So this allows probabilistic modeling to generate future daily probability distributions to account for random lead times and multiple levels of trends and seasonality. So you can imagine within a business, particularly within the make, move, sell economy, there is a lot of seasonality. And this allows to optimize control parameters for that type of seasonality. And then the third patent that we have is automated system control with data analytics using doubly stochastic model. So this actually exposes hidden drivers within the supply chain or within the inventory, and then forecasts those drivers into the future so you can actually model those what if scenarios to choose the best stock levels. So this is really exciting for us because so many of our customers, of course, across the make, move, sell economy have inventory and they're concerned about optimization levels to reduce risk and to improve the spend, especially as we continue to see, of course, disruptions across the supply chain. So this is really important. And then to get to your question regarding FP&A, when we tie that to financial planning and analysis, which we're actually leveraging Azure machine learning models in that back end in order to forecast out the budgeting and the planning process, then we can have this full picture of the operations and the financial planning coming together with these AI models to make the best decisions about the business. And then, so you have these models in the background, right? Imagine turning Prism onto something like this, being able to converse with it, so you don't have to know about stochastic models. You don't have to know about, those how to cluster and visualize demand profiles of resources, right? You can just say, what is the best inventory level for this part over the next 3 months? Right? So it's something very, very simple when you have this type of very sophisticated modeling going on in the background, and then being able to so very quickly converse in a very human-oriented way with the application.
Exciting stuff. Very human-oriented way. That's interesting. So it feels very natural, very human. That's great stuff. Well, Kerry, Arturo, thanks for talking today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
It's been a pleasure chatting.
This is wonderful.
Oh, great to hear. And thanks to everybody watching at home. Stay subscribed to ERP.today for all the latest in enterprise tech. Thank you.